Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. The most dangerous animal is the one that doesn't roar, but waits in silence, watching, calculating, and striking only when it's certain the fight is already won. In a world that glorifies loudness and bravado, there exists a breed of people who defy the noise. These are the Sigmas, enigmatic, self-reliant individuals who operate outside the social hierarchy. While they're often underestimated for their calm and detached demeanor, pushing a Sigma to their breaking point is like poking a sleeping dragon. They may not breathe fire immediately, but rest assured, the fire's coming, and it's going to be controlled, precise, and utterly devastating. Here's a fun fact. Wolves that hunt alone are more efficient than those in packs, taking down larger prey with fewer risks. Sound familiar? That's the Sigma mentality in action. They don't need the crowd, the applause, or the approval. They just need a reason to strike, and when they do, it's game over for anyone in their way. If you think dealing with an alpha is tough, wait until you meet a Sigma who's been pushed too far. Spoiler alert. There's no barking, just biting. Number 1. Their revenge is unconventional and surgical. When a Sigma seeks revenge, it's not about anger or proving a point, it's about precision. They don't react impulsively or lash out in the heat of the moment. Instead, they step back, assess the situation, and design a response that's as calculated as it is devastating. Sigmas don't waste time with petty gestures or meaningless confrontations. They aim straight for the core of the issue. Whether it's dismantling an opponent's plans, exposing their weaknesses, or cutting off their influence entirely, a Sigma's retaliation is surgical and leaves no loose ends. This cold, methodical approach is what makes them so dangerous. Sigmas aren't interested in the dramatic showdowns or public displays of power that alphas might crave. Their moves are often subtle, invisible to everyone except their target. You might not even realize they've retaliated until it's too late, when the cracks in your foundation have already spread and everything begins to crumble. Sigmas also know how to weaponize time. They don't rush their plans or act out of desperation. Instead, they wait for the perfect moment, the one when their strike will have the maximum impact. Their patience is unnerving, and their ability to see the bigger picture gives them an edge most people lack. What makes this even more chilling is that Sigmas don't act out of pure spite. They don't waste energy on revenge unless it serves a purpose or solves a problem. It's never about ego. It's about ensuring the situation is dealt with in a way that leaves no room for a repeat offense. By the time they're done, their adversaries are left stunned, often unsure how it all unraveled so quickly and so completely. At number 2, they're willing to walk away and still win. Sigmas possess a unique kind of power that comes from knowing when to let go. They don't view winning through the lens of dominance or validation. Instead, they measure success by their own standards: peace, freedom, and staying true to themselves. When pushed into a corner, a Sigma might not engage in a fight at all. Instead, they'll walk away, not out of fear or weakness, but because the battle simply isn't worth their energy. This decision to step away isn't surrender, it's strategy. A Sigma understands that not all conflicts are equal. While others might exhaust themselves trying to prove a point or salvage their pride, a Sigma weighs the cost. If the situation drains more than it gives, they'll cut their losses without hesitation. But what makes this so dangerous is how disarming it is to their opponent. Walking away leaves a vacuum, a sense of incompleteness. The person on the other side, expecting resistance, is left chasing shadows, trying to grasp for control that's already gone. What's even more impactful is the way Sigmas redefine the narrative by their exit. By stepping back, they deny their adversaries the satisfaction of a traditional win. The fight becomes meaningless because the Sigma refuses to play by the usual rules. Their silence, their absence, becomes a statement louder than words. I don't need this. You can have it, and it's still not enough for you. And here's the twist. Walking away doesn't mean the Sigma has truly left. They'll continue to move forward, build, and thrive in ways that remind their opponent what they've lost. A connection, a challenge, or even a glimpse of greatness. For the Sigma, the real victory is in preserving their energy for battles that truly matter, leaving everyone else to stew in the aftermath. Number 3. They excel at mental judo. Sigmas are masters of mental judo, a skill that turns their adversary's own energy against them. They don't meet aggression with aggression, nor do they waste time on pointless defenses. Instead, they observe, analyze, and respond with surgical precision. Their strength lies in their ability to remain calm and focused, even when others are trying to provoke them. This composure allows them to see the bigger picture and identify the best way to flip the situation in their favor. When someone comes at a Sigma with hostility, the Sigma doesn't get rattled. They let the other person's aggression burn itself out, all the while positioning themselves to redirect the force of the attack. Sigmas know that most people are driven by emotion in conflict, and they use this to their advantage. By staying logical and detached, they allow their opponent's frustration, overconfidence, or impulsiveness to become their undoing. For example, if someone tries to humiliate a Sigma publicly, the Sigma won't retaliate with equal hostility. Instead, they might calmly expose the flaws in the attacker's argument, turning the attention back on them. Or they might say nothing at all, letting the attacker overextend themselves and look foolish in the process. The Sigma's ability to stay unshaken creates a psychological imbalance, leaving their adversaries feeling off guard and powerless. This approach is as devastating as it is subtle. Sigmas don't just neutralize threats, they dismantle them. They don't win because they're the loudest or the strongest. They win because they understand human nature better than their opponents do. In the end, their adversaries are often left confused, wondering how their own actions led to their downfall. Sigmas don't need to fight harder. They just need to fight smarter, and they always do. At number 4, they strategize before they strike. When faced with conflict, Sigmas don't act on impulse or let their emotions dictate their response. Instead, they retreat into a space of calm calculation, assessing every angle and weighing every possible outcome. This strategic mindset is what makes them so dangerous. While others may act rashly, giving away their intentions or exposing their weaknesses, Sigmas are patient. They watch, they listen, and they wait until the moment is right. For a Sigma, every action has a purpose. They don't waste energy on flashy displays or unnecessary drama. When they strike back, it's not to make a scene, it's to resolve the situation definitively. This focus on precision means their moves are deliberate, targeted, and often devastating. They think not just about how to win, but about how to ensure the problem doesn't resurface. Their goal isn't just victory, it's total control of the situation. What makes their approach so unnerving is its unpredictability. A Sigma's response doesn't follow conventional rules or timelines. They might wait days, weeks, or even months before acting, giving the impression they've moved on. But when they strike, it's clear they've been planning all along. This patience throws their adversaries off balance, leaving them unprepared for the counterattack. Sigmas also excel at anticipating others' moves. They study their opponents carefully, picking up on habits, weaknesses, and blind spots. By the time they act, they've already neutralized potential threats. Their ability to strategize isn't just about winning, it's about controlling the entire board. This meticulous approach makes it almost impossible to outmaneuver them. They don't just react to situations, they shape them, ensuring that when the dust settles, they're the ones left standing. A Sigma never strikes in haste, but when they do, it's with a precision that's hard to forget. Number 5, they see conflict as a game of chess, not checkers. For Sigmas, conflict is never about the immediate skirmish. It's about the long-term outcome. They approach challenges with the mindset of a chess grandmaster, considering every move, counter-move, and ripple effect before they act. While others may rush into action, reacting emotionally or impulsively, Sigmas take their time to analyze the entire board. They know that true power lies in foresight and patience, not in fleeting victories. This ability to think multiple steps ahead is what sets them apart. When pushed, a Sigma doesn't just plan for the present, they craft a strategy that ensures they come out on top, not just now, but in the future. They consider not only how to neutralize the current threat, but also how to position themselves to prevent similar conflicts down the line. Every action they take is a calculated investment in their long-term goals. What makes this approach so dangerous is its subtlety. Sigmas don't announce their intentions or broadcast their moves. To their opponents, it might seem as if they're doing nothing, but in reality, they're quietly setting the stage for an outcome that's already in their favor. By the time their plan unfolds, it's often too late for their adversaries to respond effectively. Sigmas also excel at leveraging resources others overlook. They see opportunities where others see obstacles, and they use those to gain an edge. This adaptability allows them to stay 3, 4, or even 10 steps ahead in any conflict. For Sigmas, every battle is part of a larger war. They don't just aim to win, they aim to dominate in a way that leaves no room for retaliation. Their focus isn't on proving themselves in the moment, it's on securing their position for the future. Number 6. They exploit weaknesses others overlook. Sigmas are natural observers. They don't just see what's on the surface, they notice the subtleties, the patterns, and most importantly, the weaknesses that others miss. When pushed, this ability becomes their most powerful weapon. While their adversaries may be focused on the obvious points of attack, Sigmas dig deeper, finding the hidden cracks in the foundation. And once they've identified those vulnerabilities, they exploit them with precision, dismantling their opponents from the inside out. What makes this so dangerous is that Sigmas don't rely on brute force or flashy moves. Instead, they turn their opponent's strengths into liabilities. They notice the small things, a person's overconfidence, their reliance on routines, or even their blind spots in strategy, and use those details to unravel them. It's not a dramatic takedown, but a quiet, calculated process of erosion that leaves the other person wondering how they lost control. Sigmas also understand that people often hide their biggest weaknesses behind their strongest fronts. An overly aggressive person might be compensating for insecurity, and a seemingly unshakable leader might be terrified of failure. Sigmas have an uncanny ability to spot these hidden truths and use them to their advantage. They don't confront these weaknesses head-on. Instead, they subtly nudge situations to expose and amplify them, making their opponents do the work of defeating themselves. This approach is as efficient as it is ruthless. Sigmas don't need to overpower their adversaries, they simply outthink them. By focusing on the overlooked flaws, they create a domino effect that topples even the strongest seeming opponents. For Sigmas, it's not about fighting harder. It's about finding the exact spot where the structure gives way, then applying just enough pressure to make it all collapse. Number 7. They don't fear losing, they fear mediocrity. For Sigmas, losing is never the end. It's just part of the journey. They see every setback as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. Unlike others who might crumble under the weight of failure, Sigmas approach it with a calm detachment. They don't measure their worth by wins or losses, but by how true they've stayed to their values and vision. This mindset makes them dangerous in any conflict because they're not afraid to take risks that others would avoid at all costs. What truly terrifies a Sigma isn't losing. It's the thought of becoming average, of living a life that lacks meaning or authenticity. To them, mediocrity is the ultimate failure, a slow decay that robs them of their identity and potential. That fear drives them to take paths others wouldn't dare to explore. They're willing to gamble everything, relationships, comfort, even security, if it means pursuing what they believe in. This fearlessness gives them a unique edge. When someone tries to push or corner a Sigma, they quickly realize there's no leverage to exploit. You can't scare someone who doesn't fear traditional losses. Sigmas don't cling to possessions, titles, or reputations. They value freedom and self-respect above all else. This makes them unpredictable and difficult to control, as their priorities are completely different from those of the average person. And here's the twist. Even when Sigmas lose, they don't stay down. They analyze what went wrong, internalize the lessons, and return stronger. Their resilience comes from their ability to see failure not as an identity, but as a stepping stone. In the end, Sigmas don't just survive losses, they transcend them, turning every defeat into a building block for something greater. Number 8. They turn pushing into a psychological trap. Pushing a Sigma is like stepping into quicksand. The harder you try to force them into a corner, the more you sink into your own undoing. Sigmas are masters of turning aggression into a psychological trap, flipping the situation so subtly that their aggressors don't realize what's happening until it's too late. They don't fight back in the way you'd expect. Instead, they use the pressure against you, exposing your weaknesses and making you question your every move. When confronted, a Sigma doesn't panic or lash out. They remain calm, observing every word, every action, and every crack in your facade. Their strength lies in their ability to deconstruct a situation while staying 2 steps ahead. The more their aggressor pushes, the more the Sigma uses that energy to turn the spotlight back on them. This could be as simple as asking the right question to reveal the other person's insecurities or subtly redirecting the conversation to expose their true motives. What makes this trap so effective is the psychological imbalance it creates. Sigmas thrive on logic and composure, while most aggressors rely on emotion and force. By staying grounded, Sigmas make their opponents feel increasingly unsteady, as if their attacks are landing on air. It's not uncommon for the aggressor to overextend themselves in frustration, inadvertently revealing their vulnerabilities. Sigmas don't need to win through brute strength. They let their opponents defeat themselves. The more you push, the more you're playing into their hands. By the end, you're left exposed, outmaneuvered, and unsure how the situation spiraled out of your control. For Sigmas, every push is an opportunity to turn the tables and walk away unscathed, leaving their aggressors trapped in their own undoing. Number 9. They learn from adversity like it's a superpower. For Sigmas, adversity isn't something to be feared or avoided. It's a tool for growth. Every challenge, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is an opportunity to learn. They don't just endure difficulties, they dissect them, extracting lessons that make them sharper, more resilient, and increasingly strategic. Pushing a Sigma doesn't break them, it sharpens them, providing valuable insights and adding layers to their already formidable mental arsenal. What sets Sigmas apart is their ability to learn from every conflict, even the ones they don't win. While others might dwell on defeat or let setbacks define them, Sigmas treat each experience as a stepping stone. They take a step back, analyze what went wrong, and figure out how they can turn the situation to their advantage in the future. It's a constant process of refinement that makes them better equipped to handle the next challenge, no matter how complex or unexpected. This ability to adapt and learn quickly is like a superpower. When others might be emotionally drained or mentally exhausted after a confrontation, Sigmas are already moving forward, having internalized the lessons of the experience. They take the weaknesses they've identified in themselves and others and transform them into strengths. This makes them a moving target for anyone who underestimates them. By the time they're ready for the next round, they're already better prepared, having evolved beyond the person who was pushed in the first place. The beauty of this ability is that it doesn't rely on external validation. Sigmas don't need to win every battle to feel victorious. They simply need to learn. And in the long run, that relentless drive for self-improvement is what makes them not just hard to break, but downright dangerous. The more you push them, the stronger they become. Number 10. Their independence makes them immune to manipulation. Sigmas are immune to the usual tactics that people use to control or manipulate others. Peer pressure, authority figures, social norms, none of these affect a Sigma the way they might affect most people. Their independence isn't just a characteristic, it's the core of their existence. They don't seek approval from anyone, nor do they feel obligated to follow rules that don't align with their values. This fierce self-reliance allows them to operate outside the constraints that bind others, making them unpredictable and at times unmanageable. For those who try to corner a Sigma through social pressure or authority, it's a futile effort. They don't care about titles, rankings, or the opinions of the crowd. While others may crumble under the weight of expectations or bend to fit in, Sigmas stand firm in their individuality. They've built their lives around doing things their own way, and any attempt to force them into conformity only reinforces their resistance. This independence is what makes them so difficult to control. They're not driven by a need for validation, so appeals to their ego or social standing fall flat. They also don't fear rejection or punishment the way others might. To a Sigma, being out of line is simply a matter of perspective. They don't see it as a weakness. They see it as a strength. What this means in practice is that Sigmas are free to make decisions based on logic, principle, or personal values without being swayed by external forces. They can't be bought, bullied, or coerced. Their actions aren't governed by the norms of society. They answer only to themselves. In a world where so many are driven by the need to belong or the fear of judgment, the Sigma stands apart, making them virtually immune to any form of manipulation or control. In the end, Sigmas are the rare breed that can never be fully understood or controlled. They are not bound by the same constraints that govern others, whether it's the need for validation, the pressure of conformity, or the desire for recognition. Instead, they thrive on independence, strategy, and a relentless pursuit of authenticity. When you push a Sigma, you don't just awaken their resistance, you awaken a force that is both calculated and unpredictable, a mind that bends the very rules others live by. What makes them so dangerous isn't their physical power or their ability to outshout others, but their unparalleled mental strength. They don't need to dominate the room because they dominate the game. They don't fight for temporary victories, but for the long game, ensuring that each move, each lesson, and every setback strengthens them. A Sigma doesn't fear failure. They use it as fuel to elevate themselves, making them more formidable with each challenge faced. Their greatest weapon is their ability to adapt, learn, and outthink. When you push them, they don't just retaliate. They evolve, turning each conflict into an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what lies ahead. A Sigma isn't defined by the obstacles they face, but by how they rise above them, always true to their own path. And that, in itself, is what makes them not just dangerous, but unstoppable. If you've been captivated by the sheer power and strategy of the Sigma mindset, then don't let this journey end here. Hit that subscribe button and join us for more deep dives into the world of powerful minds, extraordinary strategies, and life-changing perspectives. We're just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. So subscribe, stay tuned, and get ready to unlock even more insights that will challenge the way you see the world. Let's keep pushing boundaries together.